Right now, someone in your life is pulling strings you can't see. You feel it, that low hum of pressure, the weight of someone else's expectations sitting on your chest like a stone. You've been second-guessing yourself, your decisions, your worth. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you've started to wonder, is it me? Am I the problem? You're not the problem, but you've been made to feel like you are. That's not an accident, that is a strategy. Every day you stay in the orbit of someone who needs to control you, you lose something you will never get back. Time, clarity, the raw, unfiltered version of who you actually are. You feel it most in silence, when the noise stops and you're alone, and suddenly you can't even hear your own voice anymore because someone else's has taken up all the space. Control isn't always a raised voice or a locked door. Most of the time, it's softer than that. It's guilt, silence, approval withheld at exactly the right moment. And you've been trained to call that love or loyalty or just the way things are. But what if I told you it's none of those things? What if I told you that the people who need to control you, the ones who monitor your every move, who make you explain yourself, who punish you with coldness, are not strong, they are terrified. Fear is the engine of control. Every cage ever built was constructed by someone who is afraid of what walked free. And what walks free is you. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear was never meant to reach you, and someone out there is hoping you click away before it does.
Let's start with the truth that nobody around you once said out loud. You are not broken. You are not too sensitive. You are not the cause of the chaos in your relationships. You've been handed that story so many times you started writing it yourself. You apologized. You adjusted. You made yourself smaller. And still, it was never enough. That's what the system of control counts on. Your willingness to adapt. Your belief that if you just try harder, be better, shrink further, the pressure will finally ease. It won't, because control is not about your behavior. It is about their emptiness. You could be perfect, and it still wouldn't fill the hole they're trying to fill with your compliance. They need your obedience, because without it, they have to face themselves. And that, for the controller, is the most terrifying thing in existence. Controlling people are not villains in a movie. They are wounded, deeply, and somewhere in their history, control was the only thing that made them feel safe. That does not make what they do acceptable. It makes it understandable. And understanding is power, because you cannot escape a trap you haven't identified. The systems around you, social, professional, personal, are not neutral. They are built to reward compliance and punish autonomy. They call it harmony. It is harvest. You were taught to be agreeable, to not make waves, to keep the peace. But whose peace? Not yours. You've been keeping someone else's peace while your own soul was at war. They told you that your resistance was the problem, that your needs were too much, that the reason you hurt is because you expect too much from people. That is a lie assembled specifically for your consumption. Your needs are not too much. You are surrounded by people who are too little. This is where you have to make a choice. You can keep explaining yourself to people who have no intention of understanding you, or you can start building something they can never touch. Your openness was never the weakness, it was the target. The most dangerous thing you can do now is learn to stop wearing it where wolves can see it. The pain you've been carrying belongs to a story you were handed. Today, we start writing a different one, and this time, you hold the pen. Because you were never the chaos. You were the clarity that someone couldn't afford to let you find.
There was a man who was not supposed to be heard, not in polite company, not in schools, not in the institutions built to manage what you believe and what you dare to want. Friedrich Nietzsche, philosopher, outcast, prophet of the sovereign self.
Born 1844 in a Prussia built on obedience, he chose a different road, and they never forgave him for it. Nietzsche looked at the world's morality, the systems of guilt, compliance, and self-sacrifice, and asked a question nobody wanted asked: who does this actually serve? He found his answer in what he called the will to power. Not the desire to dominate others, but the drive to become more fully, undeniably, dangerously yourself. To rise, to create, to refuse the gravity that pulls the mediocre toward obedience. And what he said about those who choose control over creation, it should be taught in every school that has ever made you feel small for having ambition. He wrote, "The secret for harvesting from existence the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment is to live dangerously." Live dangerously, not recklessly, but beyond the agreed-upon limits of what people like you are supposed to want, achieve, or become. That is the threat the controller cannot allow you to take seriously. Because the moment you start living for your own expansion, the moment you stop needing their approval, their hold on you dissolves, and they know it. Nietzsche was despised for saying what controllers depend on remaining unsaid, that the morality built to keep you small was not sacred, it was engineered from management. Now you have the framework. What Nietzsche diagnosed, we're about to dissect, lesson by lesson, so you don't just understand why weak people seek control, you recognize it the moment it walks through your door. The first thing you need to understand is this: control is a mask. Beneath every person who dominates, micromanages, guilt trips, or surveils, there is a person who has never learned to tolerate uncertainty. You've seen this person. Maybe it was a parent who needed to know where you were every minute, a partner who checked your phone, a boss who couldn't delegate a single task without hovering. You thought it was about you. It was never about you. The psychology is simple. People who grew up in environments of chaos, abandonment, or unpredictability learned that the only safety available was manufactured safety. Control is their coping mechanism. It is not power. It is panic in a suit. Starting today, the next time someone in your life escalates their control behavior, ask yourself, what are they afraid of losing? Not what are you doing wrong? What are they afraid of losing? That question changes everything. Drop this in the comments. I see the fear behind the force. Lesson 2. Controllers do not threaten you with strength. They threaten you with scarcity. Scarcity of love, scarcity of approval, scarcity of belonging. They make you compete for what should be freely given. You've lived this, you've performed, you've proved yourself, you've earned something, and then watched them move the goalposts without a word of explanation. And then you tried harder, because what else do you do when the resource feels essential? The psychology. Scarcity is manufactured to create dependency. When you believe that love, opportunity, or belonging is rare and conditional, you stop asking whether you deserve better. You start asking what you need to do to keep what little you have. Starting today, audit your relationships for conditional giving. Anyone whose affection arrives only when you comply and disappears when you don't, that is not love. That's a lease agreement, and you are being charged too much. Lesson 3. The most sophisticated form of control is not physical. It is narrative. The story someone else tells about who you are, repeated enough times, in enough tones of certainty, becomes the story you tell yourself. You've been told a version of yourself, probably by someone whose version of you was convenient for them. Difficult, selfish, too intense, too ambitious, the labels that kept you manageable. The psychology? Identity is constructed through repetition. Tell a person what they are often enough and with enough authority, and they will begin to perform the role rather than investigate it.
This is not weakness, it is the architecture of human cognition being used against you. Starting today, when you hear a label applied to you that serves someone else's agenda, ask, whose story is this? Because the person trying to define you is always trying to contain you. And you contain multitudes they will never be qualified to name. Drop this in the comments. My story belongs to me.
Lesson 4. Your empathy is not the problem. It is the mechanism they use. Controllers seek out empathetic people specifically because empathy can be converted into compliance with the right application of guilt. You feel their pain before they finish describing it. You imagine what they're going through. You give them the benefit of the doubt again and again and again. And the controller, consciously or not, has learned that your imagination is the lever. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. The goal is not to become cold. The goal is to become discerning. There is a difference between giving your empathy and having it taken. Starting today, notice the pattern, not just the moment. A single request for understanding is human. A recurring demand that you prioritize their emotional world over your own boundaries every single time is not a relationship. It's a subscription you never agreed to.